little bit of the story, as we will. My first taste of a turbine engine was in 1978. I had a third cousin who had a blown big block Chevy, 27. I'm born and have lived as a gearhead up until that day on the big block Chevys. He wanted to put a helicopter engine on a tractor pulling tractor. The name of that tractor was called the Duke. We put a little Honeywell TF-25 Marine Industrial Unit finally on that tractor, got it out of Oklahoma. We did real well with it, won about everything, but our only competition was, back in the day, was a blown 427 Chevy or 454. And that turbine had a factory setting and rating of 1,600 shaft horsepower.
Which is quite something if you run it against.
Yes. Now, had I had the knowledge that I have today, that early TF unit was the basis for a commercial T5508D that runs out of 2,900 horsepower.
Okay.
If I'd only knew, we could have had a lot more horsepower.
Yeah.
And at that time, turbines were so new, there were really no regulations. It was the NTPA, the unlimited class, run what you brung. Ran that turbine for a short time. We had a tractor pull down in Houston at the Superdome. The unlimited hydroplanes had a boat race down there at the same time.
May I translate for a little second? Okay, ich muss mal eben übersetzen. Also, der Heinz hat angefangen, weil sein Bruder einen Klassenschlepper mit einem Chevy hatte. Und dann hat er irgendwann mal gesagt, er muss eine Turbine draufstecken. Dann haben sie so eine alte Turbine gefunden. Die hat damals schon 1600 PS gemacht. Das war hier für die Gegend also schon das, wo es mit fast alles gewonnen hast. Ja, ja. Er sagt, aber diese Turbine, wenn er gewusst hätte, was er da hatte, er sagt, die hätte man damals schon auf über fast 3000 PS hochdrehen können. Er wusste nur leider nicht wie. Und er sagt, sie waren in Houston, im Astrodome. Und da waren Rennboote am gleichen Wochenende. Und da haben wir jetzt aufgehört. All right, keep going.
All right, where did we leave off? So anyway,
Houston.
We were in Houston at a tractor pull down there, and an unlimited hydroplane team was down there. Jim Lucero, he, most known for his crew chiefing with the Winston Eagle, and Smoking Joe's unlimited hydroplane. It was on a Thursday that we had a pull down there, and he and his crew came over to the tractor pull for something to do. They wanted that engine. So that really is where the business of buying and selling turbine engines started, was at that tractor pull in Houston.
Okay.
And the rest is history.
Ja. So, also die Bootsleute waren dann auf dem Traktorpull zu Besuch und dann wollten die auch mal seine Turbine kaufen. Und da hat das alles angefangen, wo man mit Turbinen anfängt zu handeln und so weiter. Und ja, der Rest ist Geschichte, sagt er. All right.
And not sure, moving forward with the tractor there, we had plans on putting a twin together with turbines using JFTD-12s out of the Sky Crane. With the interest of the boat teams, we didn't keep a hold of those engines too long. Bernie Little of Miss Budweiser had to have those. And then our tractor pulling at that time kind of just diminished, and it turned more toward business. And then I think it was in about 87 or 86 is when we were contacted by Gardner Stone. And he wanted to build a 4-engine pulling tractor. So he presented us with a Engler chassis and an idea of an SCS gearbox, and we kind of took it from there.
Okay. Ja, also sie haben dann nochmal einen Trecker mit 2 Turbinen gebaut, aber das ist dann bei denen mit dem Traktorpulling immer weniger geworden. Und dann haben sie das eigentlich auch fast aufgehört und dann kam Gardner Stone hier irgendwann an mit dem Engler-Chassis, hat gesagt, er hätte gerne 4 Turbinen drauf und das haben sie dann von da aus übernommen. You focus. Yep.
And during that time, after contact with Gardner, I did quite a bit of traveling. Went out to Tim Engler's machine out there where the frame was being constructed, met with SCS Gearbox, and ultimately he wanted the tractor built in Middlebury, Vermont. Made several trips out there, and I said, Gardner, you got to get this back to Nebraska. So we got it back to Nebraska, got the engines on, got them running with the gearbox. He came and got the tractor, went back to Middlebury, Vermont with it, had to make a trip out there and do the final touches as far as foot pedals and throttles and everything else like that. And the fun part about it all was he didn't want to come out of the gate as an amateur, so he rented a sled, set up a 300-foot tractor pulling track on his daughter's farm.
Yeah.
And we spent a day out there making one pass right after another. And then he was satisfied with that. And then we went to a little tractor pull down in, I think it was Atco, New Jersey. There was a drag strip there. And at the time, the NTPA was not there with the Unlimiteds. Gardner came out of the gate at a little community tractor pull with 180 mile an hour rear wheel speed. So the track would not have been long enough. They weren't prepared to slow him down. So,
Okay.
and that's where it started with the biggest part of the tractor pulling that I've done as far as building engines for tractors. And now I'm going to say nearly 90% of the turbine tractors engines have been through here.
All right.
So I think there's a black and gold one over there right now.
Yeah. All right.
And 2 of them just left.
Translate. Also sagt, sie haben dann den Traktor, also Gardner wollte den erst dahin in New Hampshire fertig machen, aber haben das Ding dann doch hier rüber geholt, weil es dann doch von der Arbeit her besser war. Der ist dann wieder zurückgegangen, nachdem das meiste getan war, haben dann so Pedale und Gashebel und sowas angebaut und dann sind sie hier mit der ganzen Geschoss zum ersten Mal, weil er nicht den Anfänger aussehen wollte, erstmal bei sich zu Hause getestet. Dann haben sie den ganzen Tag rumgespielt auf einer eigenen Bahn und sind dann zu einer kleinen Veranstaltung gefahren und sagte, die Bahn war nicht lang genug, weil er kam auf eine kleine Käseveranstaltung hier und gleich mal 180 Meilen am Rad. Ja, genau. Aber er sagt, das war so der Beginn, wo sie richtig für andere Turbinen gemacht haben. Und die meisten traktorpulligen Turbinen, die hier in Amerika laufen, werden auch hier gewartet und hier betrieben. Ja. Yep. All right. Good.
So that's how I personally got started in tractor pulling. Since that time, as you look around here, tractor pulling is a very small portion of our business. My 2 sons enjoy tractor pulling. That's why we continue to really support the tractor pulling effort as much as we do.
Good.
I myself, a lot of work, having to go to all them pulls. Bodie's still got a lot of energy. Give him another 10 years. But no, we've enjoyed our time working with tractor pullers. Met a lot of good people. I was over at the European Super Pull. I don't remember when, but I came with Gardner stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a tremendous good time. And I think that was had to be in Amsterdam, I believe.
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Quite.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had more fun outside of the tractor pull or in the tractor pull. I think it was outside. It's still a blur. We fly over there, get there at 7 in the morning. We had to go to coffee shops, cheese factories, the windmills, and couldn't sleep for 48 hours. Had to run and run and run, so we were pretty delirious. The funniest thing out of all that was we had been up, like I said, a lot of hours, and it got to be lunchtime, and I wanted a cheeseburger. I was just hungry for something that takes me home.
Yeah.
We stopped at this little cafe, and I couldn't get a cheeseburger.
Oh.
I could get a meat burger sandwich, or I can get a cheese sandwich. So I ordered both, and it came with an egg on top. I hadn't seen that before. I like that now. So working with the T55s like Gardner has, a T55 that we have, not knowing what we were doing, we actually contacted the manufacturer. It was Avco Lycoming at the time, Stratford, Connecticut. they packed up guys and came out here to West Point, Nebraska, and learned things. So, what could be done with their engine that they had no clue.
Yeah.
And then it kind of switched from tractor pulling for quite some time into the unlimited hydroplane boat racing. At one time, and probably still to this day, every boat out there has an engine with my hands on it.
Okay.
Budweiser, they would order 6 hot sections every season in one engine. Teams came to us like the Circus with Bill Bennett and Bill Pennington. They had me build 6 engines, 6 spare hot sections. Fran Muncie with the Miller High Life really wanted to beat everybody, and every time they started an engine, they melted it down. They tried nitrous, they tried all kinds of things. But today, the only thing we really do for the boat racers is engine testing here. Everybody has their own mechanics. I think we have 2 or 3 coming in a week or so.
Okay.
And tractor pulling, I think one of the first customers other than Gardner was it Bob Soyerson?
Yep.
You heard of him?
Yeah. Sure.
This was in the late 80s. I got a call from him, and he says, I broke something. And he goes, I'll send it to you. And we got the turbine section out of a T-53, which I hadn't really worked on at that time. But he cleans everything with gasoline. The UPS guy drops his box off, and it just, you could have swore he soaked it in car gas. And I'm surprised UPS even took that thing. But just met him back in the early 80s, and I think Cody told me he's going to be here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So a lot of these relationships, probably such as you've known Bodie forever, it's amazing how many years that they continue.
Yeah.
And with Gardner Stone, I built turbine engines for boats that he's had. I still want to have one experiment with the man. I want to draw blood. I want to do some DNA research, because any man with his age that has the level of energy that he still does, he's so enthusiastic, so energetic, and he's built around having a good time.
Yep.
Last time I saw him and his grandson were going to go elk hunting. They pull out here with a huge motorhome, pulling a huge trailer with a generator in it, with freezers in it to bring back the meat up to Vermont. Incredibly awesome man.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can still get all that together. Also er sagt, sie machen inzwischen
I mean, we're talking a big check.
immer noch gerne Traktorpult, weil sie es gerne selber mögen, aber das ist nur noch ein ganz kleiner Teil vom Geschäft. Was hier inzwischen viel mehr ist, sind die Boote. Da also alles, was am Booten hier, also diesen Unlimited Hydroplane Racing fährt, geht hier durch. Und das sind auch mal locker so 6, 7, 8 Reservemotoren, die da pro Saison geliefert werden müssen. Und ja, das machen sie alles hier. Was hatten wir noch? Ja, er hat hier einige von den Geschichten erzählt, wie so Bobswaffen, die Klamotten von Kapuze, die dann hier hingebracht werden und dann alles in Benzin. Und PS hat dann Probleme damit, das zu liefern. Er hat mit Gardner Stone möchte er noch einmal was machen, und zwar möchte er von dem mal einen DNA-Test haben, weil er sagt, ein Mann in dem Alter mit der Energie, da möchte er gerne wissen, was das Geheimnis ist. Das letzte Mal, als er hier war, kam er zum Elchjagen mit einem riesen Motorhome, hinten mit einem großen Generator auf dem Hänger mit Kühlschränken, damit er das Fleisch auch nachts Okay, no. Yeah. Translate. At least the gist of it.
Yeah, so went from the tractor pulling, working on the tractors, working on the T-55 engines in the race boats. We had taken it upon ourselves to buy all of the T-55 material coming out of Corpus Christi Army Depot. We were running a farm truck down there at least once a month.
Okay.
And we were running into another company there that was buying T-53 material. And they asked me if I'd be interested in working on some T-55s, because obviously we were experts.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been 86 or 87, they had a Chinook in Morocco that was having trouble. And that kind of began the aviation side of things.
Okay.
ran with that. Now we work on many different models of engines. We have customers in 41 countries. And today, we do still see T-55s. You'll get to watch one run today. This one you're going to see today is in a late model Chinook helicopter for firefighting.
Okay.
A large portion of our business today is also the Black Hawk engines.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We do a large number of Black Hawk engines here.
Okay.
And our customers that use those big helicopters, they actually have small helicopters as well. And they prefer us to work on every engine that they possess.
All right.
Here's some Pratt & Whitneys. I have no idea where these came from, but this is how we received them. And,
What a puzzle.
I think they're out of Spain.
Okay.
And we get tasked with putting these back together. The fuel controls are in 2 boxes on the shelf over there. They're in 3,000 pieces as well.
Oh my God.
So they've been pulled out of other shops, and we are tasked with getting them back in there, and we will do so in about 60 days or less.
Okay. Also,
We also have moved from just helicopter turbines. We do some work for they have a turboprop version of the General Electric Black Hawk engine called the CT9,
Yeah.
CT5. We currently have those in-house as well. We do quite a large number of those. We just picked up another new customer today.
also der hat mal irgendwann, angefangen hat das Ganze, dass er in die Luftfahrtgeschichte gekommen ist, als sie beim Militär versucht haben, alles an T-55 zu kaufen, was sie fliegen könnten. Und da war eine Firma, die kaufte T-53.
Okay.
Und die machten Luftfahrt und haben ihn dann gefragt, ob sie diese T-55-Geschichte Luftfahrt nicht auch er machen könnte. Und da ist er so in die ganze Luftfahrtgeschichte gekommen und inzwischen macht er ja alles, was mit Chinook-Helikoptern überholen hat. Er sagt gerade da, die noch Pratt & Whitney-Turbinen, die jetzt irgendwie aus Spanien gekommen sind, in Einzelteilen, weil irgendjemand das auseinandergebaut hat, die können das jetzt wieder zusammen
A little more than abbreviated.
Ja, und das ist so quasi das sein Hauptgeschäft. So, ja.
I know where the whole
Er sagt,
story
das ist
went
jetzt
out.
viel, so zum Beispiel Feuerlöschhubschrauber und solche Geschichten. Ja.
Okay.
Jo. Yep.
All right, back on camera.
Yeah, this thing kind of follows you anyway, so it's kind of difficult to do.
And a little bit about where we are at now as far as my 2 boys. Cody came up to me one time, bring the kids over as much, because I really hated living in a turbine shop. Both of my boys, since they were able to walk, have been in a turbine shop. This has been almost their entire life. Tyler went to school to be an automotive mechanic. Cody was in business, Christian lumber, and they both came back home. It's hard, as brothers, it's hard to fight if you're working in different businesses. If you work in the same building, it's easier to fight with your brother.
Er sagt gerade, seine Söhne wollten eigentlich ihre Kinder, wollten nicht hier weitermachen, weil sie gesagt haben, dass die Kinder auch was anderes sehen sollten als eine Turbinenwerkstatt, weil sie als Kinder hier drin groß geworden sind. Aber er sagt, inzwischen sind sie beide wieder zurück. Der eine hat erst Automotive gemacht, der andere was mit Holz. Und er sagt, wenn Brüder nicht zusammen sind, können sie sich nicht streiten. Und deswegen sind sie beide auch wieder hier, damit sie besser streiten können. Ja. Okido.
So this is kind of where my life has taken me.
Yeah.
45 years working on turbine engines.
Cool.
I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing, or that I'd know how to do.
Yeah, probably.
So, are you ready to get into the technical part of the tour?
Sure.
A little bit. All right.
Go ahead.
I received a call out of Switzerland this morning. I've got 6 more of them coming. And we've never worked on it before. This will be our first. We've worked on other Pratt & Whitney engines, but those will be our first. This engine here is going to...
But you know what the one works and what you have to do on this?
Yeah.
It's going to-
Yes. It's Pratt & Whitney turbine engine. They may be different sizes, different horsepowers, but all of the principles are the same, and they have a lot of amazing similarities. And I don't want to say once you can work on one turbine, you can work on them all. But that lends some truth.
Gerade die Turbinen, die unterscheiden sich alle gar nicht so drastisch. Wenn du eine kannst, dann wird das genauso. Wenn du einen Chevy-Motor bearbeiten kannst, dann kannst du auch einen Ford arbeiten. Also das wäre jetzt nicht so das Thema. Deswegen machen sie auch viele verschiedene Modelle.
Guarantee that they can run again, or you have to improve them.
We have to, on that one, that's going to be a full-blown overhaul. That will be just completely disassembled, gone through new bearings, and back out with the same horsepower that it is. Now, as far as improving, we get quite a lot of engines in that people want to upgrade.
Jetzt fragt gerade, ob sie die auch hier in der Leistung her hochziehen.
Little teeth and grease example, they have 1,450 horsepower. We can put another turbine nozzle, plane rings in, and get it up to 18.
Ja, sagt, geht schon. Also du kannst weitere Sektionen dazufügen und mehr Düsen zum Beispiel. Dann kannst du schon nochmal bei so einer kleinen 1400er zum Beispiel eine 1800 davon machen.
That's getting repurposed. Not sure which one's that 9? T700. T700. This would be early model Blackhawk. Probably late 80s, early 90s.
Also das war frühe 90er, später 80er aus dem Blackhawk.
And this thing here,
Oh, I know that stuff.
I don't know how this would fit in a helicopter at all, but it would go in an airplane.
I got an Ellison here.
Yeah. This is an old one that we just picked up. I say we. I wasn't there. I didn't have anything to do with it. But we were capable of turning a V12 Allison into two V6s.
Yeah,
Split it right down the middle.
possible.
It was the best run of that tractor's career. And I don't know what would stop it other than it came apart. So.
I can tell you what to stop at. Rod bearings.
In here.
All right. Is that fuel pumps?
This is where all the magic happens.
Well, are these fuel pumps or
These are called the fuel control
the
units.
fuel control unit? Yeah.
Looks like he's working on something that will be magic. That T58.
Yep.
This is probably one of the. I don't know based on where his mind is, but I would have to say this is probably the most tedious job here. It definitely requires the highest skill set and has the largest amount of responsibility.
Yeah. If you do anything wrong there, it'll burn out, I guess. Or
Well, a helicopter may land on top of a building.
that too. Yeah.
In the middle of a football game,
Yeah.
or things like that. Fortunately, if there's an engine problem in a helicopter, you still can land the thing.
Yep.
It might just be inconvenienced as to where. I've almost had that happen in my helicopter. I went to get fuel. I had it here. I drove over to the airport. They were loading up some construction equipment in front of the fuel pump, so I just thought I'd sit out there and hover. And one thing that you don't do as a pilot much after you get your license is work on your hovering skills. And you come in, you land, you take off. But to get your license, you have to hover taxi 5 feet off the ground, plus minus like a foot at the most, a foot and a half. So I just sat out there and I'm going back and forth. I'm flying forward, backward. It's just taking forever. I get up to the pump and I fill my helicopter up 59 gallons. That's all it holds. I was like 2 minutes away from calling Tyler to bring a gas can at the airport, out of the gas, 100 yards from the fuel pump. So.
Oh gosh.
What he's working on today is a General Electric T58 fuel control. At this point, it's probably his most challenging fuel control. By this time next week, he'll be the master of it. There's only one company that successfully overhauls these things, and that's Columbia Helicopter out in Oregon. They charge a huge amount of money for that. This is for marine use. And we also, our reputation as it is on fuel system components, we were contacted, what was that, BJ, a couple months ago by Sikorsky and GE and
Yeah.
maybe 3 months, but, and the NTSB. They brought fuel controls out here for us for crash investigation work. And we ran them across our bench. We were able to give them all the results that they needed, plus a teardown inspection to just make sure there wasn't something inside that caused this helicopter to go down.
Okay.
And we are now in the process of actually disassembling the fuel control, basically 100%, putting it back together. It's a learning curve. So
But before, when you have this done, then it's going first.
it goes on that bench
Yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
for sure.
And what happens here with this bench, it is capable of every perimeter that the fuel control can be thrown at it.
Okay.
If need be, there's a cryo control we can take and tell the fuel control it's going to be operating at minus 100 degrees Celsius. Or we can inflate the temperature up to Death Valley, 140 degrees. With this bench, it duplicates everything. It can duplicate altitude, pilot controls, what the pilot wants, what the fuel control limits. We run it through every possible scenario that can see, and then when it's done and we put our stamp, we sign it off, it's good to put on a helicopter anywhere in the plane.
Cool.
Something that you might see is all this fancy blue cabinets. Some stuff isn't painted blue yet, it's just steel gray. We make all this stuff in-house.
All right.
One thing that starting
You
out,
mean
this whole bench
yes, okay.
I built.
Yeah.
And I spent time at different locations investigating other people's benches with a camera, a notebook, and things like this, and then came back and duplicated this. One of the places I gathered a lot of information, what needed to happen here was in a military fuel control bench that wouldn't have fit in this room. You could walk inside of it, but the way companies work, if they sell it to the government, it can be the size of a small school bus and we can charge many millions more. One of the reasons all of my glue equipment here is we built this in-house.
Yeah.
I did not have money to do this. So the only way to do it was to build all of our own equipment and learn. I started out life a lot quicker and faster than most people. I got married when I was 15.
Oh, yeah.
My wife was 14. I graduated high school, married with children, and 30,000 in debt. So, married for 13 years. We just grew up different. She works, my ex-wife works for me today at my grocery store. She runs that for me. And she's the best thing that happened for the grocery store because she still cares.
Yeah.
And we get along great. And it wasn't anything wrong with our relationship. It's just we just grew up two different people.
Yeah.
I grew up hitting the road running, not necessarily traveling, but I thought I needed to work 12, 14-hour days. And probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I literally graduated high school 30,000 in debt.
Yeah. So.
And had to pay all that back.
Yeah.
So anyway, the fuel bench, as you see it, we've adapted many different kinds of adapters to run all the different types of fuel controls that we may see. The next one that we're working on are these here. They're called hydromechanical units.
Einspritz.
They are offered by Blackhawks and Meyer model GE
selber
engines.
gebaut. Kann da alles Mögliche
My next week,
simulieren
we're
und kann hier
gonna be running
dann auch die
They have electrical connections and a lot of electrical internal things that need to move and stuff. And I'll show you out there what we're doing with that, but we'll be complete with that.
And when they come inside, you might maybe also
was sie macht.
Yes.
what's going on.
Yeah, we like to, we call them induction runs,
Die Klamotten
whether it's a small component like this or an entire engine. You know, we run into before and learned lessons that we have an engine come in, the operator say, it's running fine. Well, we take it all apart, we fix what's wrong with it, put it back on, and well, it's vibrating real bad. It's not making the horsepower that it should, and it's running hot. But he was flying around the yard, and it was fine. So we like to do an incoming test cell run.
Yeah.
One, to make sure we fixed what is wrong. In a certain case, we, like with engines, sometimes they seem to be running fine, but they're outside of parameters. And when they're outside of parameters, they usually like to cause a lot of internal damage with extended use. So, another machine we built, all of these turbines have some way of introducing fuel. A T-53 has fuel atomizers, fuel nozzles. T-55s have the same way. This is a bench we built. There's only one of these in captivity. I saw one down in South America when I was down there visiting our customers, the Colombian Air Force. Their fuel control bench is about the size of these two put together with long hoses and tubes over to beakers and stuff. We just built everything, incorporated it together. Afterthought was we added programmable logic controller there to aid with the testing and make it more seamless.
Great. Yeah. Interesting.
One of the fun things that we had the OEM for the fuel controls visit, and we actually went through OEM certification on the T-53 fuel controls. They said, "How can you even work on them? You don't have the L setting fixture. We've never sold one." To you. And I said, "Well, think of this. How did you get that?" And basically, I know I'm being recorded, but I borrowed one from an OEM facility on a Friday. It was FedEx to me for Saturday delivery. We reverse engineered it and FedEx it right back to get there. So, my business is no longer selling.
Okay. If there's anything I have to take out of this, let me know.
And I've had other shops trying to get in the business. They want to borrow that. And it's like, no, the same thing I did. And
be creative and
competition.
ja, also er sagt gerade, einige von diesen Werkzeug, was er da gebaut hat, das brauchst du, um zertifiziert zu werden. Und die haben ihn gefragt, wer das denn geschafft hat, da zertifiziert zu werden. Er hätte das Werkzeug doch gar nicht kaufen können. Wäre doch nicht verkauft worden. Er sagt, da habe ich mir schicken lassen, habe ich für 2 Tage geliehen. Danach hatte ich auch eins.
Something else to see is more blue stuff.
Yeah.
Everything we build outside of the manufacturer, Honeywell, for the Chinook engines, this is the only other one in captivity. And I built that off a set of drawings. This one here is for the smaller engines and pinning. It's a little more modern than what the factory uses. The factory uses an air over hydraulic system to where you have to pump your foot, watch a gauge. This is all automatic. And you just go through it and it works really quickly.
Nice.
So, this here is a brand new 4-turbine rotor for a Chinook engine. You're looking at, and this one hasn't been pinned yet, the rivets are not set. You're looking close to $4,000 each foot.
Wow.
You're looking at about 70 grand sitting in the metal.
Gott. Verstanden?
And they get well over $100,000.
Ein Flügel 4.000. Na, sind $70.000 auf.
It's a lot of money sitting there. One thing that I don't try to do is think about
Er versucht immer nicht dran zu denken, weil das so teures Zeug ist. Also der kann so schon nicht schlafen, wenn er gleich mal drüber nachdenken muss dann.
People go, well, aren't you worried about that and all of this? And it's like, I don't think about it. And they will also ask, what do you think? This is all yours. Whether it's here or the grocery store or the restaurant. I'm like, I don't feel that way. I have to work here. The restaurant, you just go there to eat, have a drink. Grocery store, we get a few groceries. And the person actually sits back and thinks, wow, you'll get scared and run. You have to, and it will terrify you. Pinning fixtures, that's how they retain all the blades, little rivets, little things like that. In here is non-destructive testing.
Das wird genietet, das Zeug.
You're probably familiar with this a little bit, called NDT.
Ja,
The piston guys do a magnetic particle inspection. This is a magnetic particle bench, a pretty large one, as you will. Everybody kind of familiar with this?
Weiß einer, was das ist?
No,
Okay.
never seen this.
What this bench can do, for example, if you had a big shaft that big in diameter, put it between the stanchions here and create a field of magnetism in there. This hose here puts out a magnetic fluid, and you can run that fluid over top of that shaft, and you should see lines of magnetism in that fluid. If there's a little speck or a flaw in that shaft, even if it's below the surface and you can't find it with a magnifier, it'll disrupt the pattern of the flow, so you know there's an issue inside.
Yeah.
This is for everything magnetic. On this side is called fluorescent penetrant. There's a tank where you submerge the component. This is not magnetic, so obviously no field of magnetism. But that dye gets into cracks that you can't see with a 10 times magnifier. And once you run it through there, rinse it, dry it, there's a light here that illuminates. And I will tell you, I've already got it on my hands. My hands will have green all over it from touching this stuff. You'll have green on your shoes a little bit. Kind of fun. But this is where everything that's not magnetic goes through. During an engine overhaul, everything goes through non-destructive testing. If we modify something, for example, we didn't do this, but somebody had, they put a real nice insert in there. You would be required to do a crack check on there to make sure your machining didn't cause any cracks or introduce any kind of stress there. So the gentleman that does this, he's 4 days on, long days, so he gets Fridays off. But he works in here in the dark with the lights.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's why we kid him that he sleeps with the lights on.
yeah.
Okay.
My shop next door built these tanks. This isn't dark enough blue, so we didn't build this magnet.
Also, das weißt du, was das ist, ne? Zum Magnettest und dann die mit dem Magnetfelder und der Flüssigkeit, das gucken. Das Ganze ist hier dann mit Pulver. So, das nee, das ist, hier kannst du nicht magnetische Teile auf Risse überprüfen. Also hier alle Teile, die hier durchgehen müssen, geprüft werden.
You go in the back way, the big bridge over the river, it's kind of the same color roof. I didn't build that.
Er sagt, alles, was hier dunkelblau ist, hat er gebaut.
There's an oil pump.
Nur die Brücke da hinten, die ist auch dunkelblau, die hat er nicht gebaut.
This is about one of the only ones in the country that actually works right. The T53 flow benches, other OEMs have a problem with that. They send their flow benches to us to flow their oil pumps. Basically what I did is studied what was going wrong with theirs. They're having a scavenge problem at an altitude. We corrected that. Now we flow oil pumps for a lot of other companies. And we build adapters so we can do all of the different engine pumps. So, as we're walking through, this is, and we'll get to this when we get out there, this is called a water brake.
Yep.
This is our small water brake up to about 2,500 horsepower and just shy of 10,000 RPM.
Ja.
And we have multiple ones that you'll see as we go out.
Wasserbier nicht hochbrennt, so ist das.
Basically what this does, it has stationary, basically
Staples.
walls or rings, and then it has rotating ones, and water being chopped up as it goes through is what absorbs the power.
Ja. Follow. Oh my God, yeah. Balancing.
This is a balance machine. Kind of typical of most balance machines that you might find in an automotive shop even. Not anything real scientific here, except that I shouldn't touch anything because but you see that that's within 0.0837 of a gram. Of a gram. And that's 0.8.
Yes,
Ja, ja.
1.0 is less like a paperclip around.
Yeah.
So it's just a fraction. These rotors turn 20,000 plus RPM, and if they're out at all, it tends to cause issues. You know. And we've got setups for all of the engine models.
Well, then you know, okay, it's out of, it's not.
Yeah, and this one here, since
And
it's
then-
showing okay,
Yeah,
this rotor is good.
yeah, yeah.
So when it's not in balance, what do you do? Grind on it, or
There's provisions here. That's a sacrificial ring molded on the
Okay.
disc that you can remove. I don't see a Pratt & Whitney here. Pratt & Whitney, they actually have little rivets that they got a ring of little holes. You put a rivet in. Sometimes you grind a little bit off of the rivet. General Electric actually has. Sometimes the bolts will have. You can put little shims on there that weigh different amounts to get that
Okay.
right where you need it to be.
okay. Also das ist zum Balancieren, genauso wie Turbinenräder beim Turbolader oder sonstiges. Und klar, Balancemaschine ist die Zeit ja dann
Yeah.
nach dem Drehen an, was oben, wo was ist. Und ich sag, wie kannst du die denn ausbalancieren? Ja, die dürfen dran schleifen, andere haben so kleine Nieten, die man rein und raus und abschleifen kann. Oder bei einer anderen Fabrikaten so ein kleines Scheibchen, die man dran bauen
Turn
kann.
that, see exactly where it's out of balance.
Ja.
This thing picks up right there,
Yeah.
and that'll be at your 12 o'clock, and it's been 30 some years since I tried to balance something. So I don't have to do these things now.
Anymore, no, no. They-
Go ahead.
This is another engine. This is a new one for us. We've never worked on one of these. Again, it's a Pratt & Whitney. You'll see a lot of similarities between housings and things like that, just different shapes. This is out of a turboprop airplane, probably maybe an ag plane that puts spray down. And what I find interesting is this thing came partially disassembled as well. We get a lot of engines that have been pulled out of other shops. There's a bunch of gray containers out there sitting outside, square ones. Those are all engines in there. They were pulled all out of H&S over in England or something. H&S completely disassembled them like the Pratt & Whitney did. And it's a combination. They have issues like we have. They don't have the people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just turns into be more than what they can handle. So,
Okay.
great big shop, but when they get so far into stuff, it's really hard. And this isn't something that you can just go to a quick school for 2 years and come out and do. You've met my son Cody, the big one. He's got 43 years of experience,
Yeah.
even though he was in diapers when he first started. And that was just last Tuesday.
Ja, for you. Felt like it anyways. Also er sagt, er kriegt ganz viele Turbinen von anderen Herstellern, von anderen Shops, die nicht mehr das Personal haben, das zu machen. Und dann kriegt er hier so halbzerlegte Klamotten und kann sich mir das wieder zusammenkriegen. Aber er sagt, das ist das Problem ist, das ist so ein Job, den hast du nicht in 2-3 Jahren gelernt. Sagt er, und sein Sohn macht das seit 43 Jahren, auch wenn er als Windel angefangen hat, aber ja, ist nicht so einfach.
This is another run stand. This is a big marine industrial unit for, we have, surprised they're not here yet, we have two engines coming in from the Swedish Navy. They're TF-50s. I mean, these guys are, for a turboshaft Chinook-based engine, they run at about 7,500 horsepower. And we're the only ones that run them.
Ja. Kommt jetzt von Schweden, das ist der zweite Chinook, da gehen jemals 7.500 PS hier rein.
Here's another little helicopter engine, just like that one up there.
Kleine
Those are little Rolls-Royce 250s, 425 horsepower.
425 PS.
Walk away with it.
Kannst unter den Arm mit rumlaufen.
It fit in your car. It has a nice 6,600 RPM output on it. You put a automatic transmission behind it with a 6,000 RPM install converter, and you got a toy.
How much fuel will it burn?
What's that?
How many miles per gallon?
Yeah, not good.
Exactly.
I think if you're under power, it's about 17 gallons an hour. You can't go fast enough.
80 Liter die Stunde
I'll
braucht
say
so ein
this
Ding.
again, as
80 Liter die Stunde, 70, 80 Liter
everything
die
that's
Stunde
blue
brauchen
we
die.
built here, you can see that this has been a long time since that was built. Not so long since this stand was built. Not so
Kann
long
sein.
since that engine cart was built.
Kannst du nach, je nachdem, wie weit die Farbe abgeblättert ist, kannst du gucken, wie alt die Klamotten sind. Ah,
We've got another one that hasn't got paint on it yet.
yeah. So you're still expanding your capabilities.
Yeah. Another little Blackhawk engine. Something else we do is you'll see a lot of big containers out there. They weigh a ton of weight. A lot of these need to go air freight. We make these nice little aluminum shipping containers. And they are shock mounted with security, so the rubber mounts break, they don't drop and get damaged. All
Yeah.
of those gray boxes are engines from H&S. And this is something that we're getting away from the aviation side a little bit. You'll recognize this. This is a machine.
Yeah. Bridge sports.
Another business that I'm involved with, it's called Nebraska Arms Aviation. I just moved that to Tacoma, Tennessee. Started there October 1st. We do the whole Blackhawk helicopters there. We do completions. We finished up on one a year ago for the King of Jordan. And we have, I think, 8 U.S. Customs and Border Protection Blackhawks in the shop right now.
Okay, wir arbeiten also auch nicht an den ganzen Hubschrauber, den ganzen Außenkram.
The Blackhawks have a big wing on the back called a stabulator. These are maintenance stands for them.
Okay, das
We
sind
built them and they'll go down.
Servicegestelle für Blackhawk-Teile.
This machine we don't use in here because it's too dirty. It's a CMM machine, kind of familiar with that. You put a pop bottle in there, a computer will map it out, put it in a digital file, and you send it over to CNC lathe and
Okay.
recreate it.
Ja, okay, das sind alles schöne.
A lot of the tooling and stuff that we build, we don't go through a bunch of machining on heavy metal parts with heavy tooling. We actually 3D print what we do first. And this was for an electrical generator turbine engine. This is the adapter to run it on our test cell. And we cut it out of,
Ja, just
we don't cut it out, we actually
Yeah,
3D
print
print
it.
it.
Ja.
Not exactly sure what part of the engine that it fits in. No. For our little water break for testing APUs, this was an adapter that fit in there.
Okay, also sie machen, jedes Teil, was sie bauen, machen sie vorher erst das 3D-Druck, um das zu testen und zu gucken.
Turbine
ob
blade,
das passt.
this won't stand up to heat though.
Yeah. It'll be gone instantly.
As I was saying, our flow bench in there, here's a couple interpretations of the adapter, the HMU. Now it's finalized, it's made out of aluminum
Ja.
there.
Also auch.
More of our little
Adapter und
engine
sowas.
cans going together. Over here, repairs that are done. More tooling that's being built. This is a stand to work on the little Rolls-Royce 250 hot sections here. There's a cabinet being built there. My idea with that is whenever you clean parts of the solvent tank, you clean bearings, you do all that kind of stuff, that solvent's dirty. What this cabinet does, it has air-fed solvent. You know, your little
Okay,
blow gun,
das ist
you
eine
dump it.
Luftreinigungsgeschichte.
And all it's done inside here, solvent's only ever used one time, so you don't
Und das
contaminate
Ganze wird alles nur
bearings
einmal
before
benutzt,
you put
damit,
them in an engine.
damit er
And
dann
after it goes through here, it goes into the cleaning
Fremdkörper
tank.
von einem Motor in den anderen schiebt.
But it's a final rinse as you go.
Hello.
Couple more water brake
Yep.
setups. That one's for our little APU. That little guy tests up to about 300 horsepower.
Yep. Yeah, you got those high RPMs in the turbines. It doesn't take much torque to stop them.
I'll let you guys pile in there.
All right. Pile in, also. Hau mal rein. Hello there. Hello. Ooh.
Yeah, it's not horrible in here for noise, but if you do desire some additional hearing protection, stick your fingers real deep into each ear and put your tongue out. But there are headsets, there are earplugs,
Maybe somebody?
and you may or may not need them.
Okay.
Also es wird nicht so laut, aber wer möchte, kann sich die Finger in die Ohren stecken oder auch
Ja.
Kopfhörer kriegen.
What he's looking at down here is the same thing that's on the screen up there. As you can imagine, there's a lot of, warmed up there. A lot of onlookers here, so that screen up there is just for your benefit.
Okay. Ready?
Ready?
The engine right now is at an idle, about 57%. In one speed, compressor's turning 10,700 RPM.
Really nice, don't they?
Well, this is electronic fuel control.
Way better than my L11.
Yeah, a little more soundproofing in the building than it was even a year ago.
Yeah, that's good.
Not even working yet, only about 1,300 horsepower. It's just kind of like fuel injection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's impressive.
Scott, who is down in Ransom today, he wants to do electronic fuel injection for the also.
Yeah.
And he has the technology.
Yeah.
2.5, 3 gallons a minute, and maybe even 4 there. We don't play around too long. Now we're down to now only about 1.5 gallon a minute. They're thirsty.
Yep.
Did that bleed air just push that cabin open? I think it did, yeah. The bleed band opened up and that door opened up at the same time. That's usual, that. What's the RPM at full power?
M1 or M2? M1. Almost 20,000, 20,000.
£80 block of steel spinning at 20,000 RPM. Isn't perfect, you can make a mess out of things.
Better be balanced.
That's an impressive motor.
Runs
Just started. Unreal. Oh, running.
Well, that's kind of the difference between a 15-year-old and a 65-year-old too.
Are you working out here on the machine to the booth?
Where we're at with this one is we've done our repairs.
Okay.
So as soon as the customer pays, it's out the door. So,
Okay.
if
So, then you need to work still, or you want?
no, this is done now.
Yeah, now, yeah.
We've already had to make some adjustments and do a couple different things to it. We've had this one completely apart and put it back together. And the reason the customer needs to pay is we got nearly $500,000 invested in this. And I have other engines that have all that money invested in it, and this and this and this. I don't have enough money to buy lunch. So I need to get these things paid for before they leave.
No.
So that's what a modern late model Chinook engine acts and runs like and puts out for power.
Cool.
This is going on a firefighter, you said?
Yeah. A lot of the clips they shown on TV, you could see the Colson name back up on the tail. And on this side over here is where we do the GE engines. Which one's this, Andy? This is
5A.
that's a 5A, and that's out of like a Saab 340
Yeah.
turboprop aircraft. And this one here, the power turbine output speed is a lot higher, and we have to test that with an air brake because the water has its limitations. I think maybe, what would you say, Andy? If we got up to 18,000 on the water, we'd have all kinds of cavitating, we'd be boiling water.
Well, the 55 brake wasn't so big.
Yeah,
It spends 20,000 too.
yeah. So,
It could,
be on the edge there.
yeah.
I ran T58s with a 55 brake back in the day. I don't know if you were here when we did that, but I could get up to about 92%. So, but this is where the magic happens and the final stop for that engine, except for a shipping container.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that one of the controls. This is just a little device with a shaft in it, and that was it basically is an overgrown fuel pressure regulator.
Yeah.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, because I don't know anything, but that keeps, there's a chamber in there, and that device there keeps it a steady fuel pressure, isn't that correct?
Okay.
If they
That
have,
changes the fuel pressure.
yeah, and if somebody drop the throttle clear back to nothing for a second or something. It would just, it keeps the fuel pressure in check
Okay.
in there and set at a certain rate based on what the HMU needs to have.
Am Gashebel rumspielt immer so, dass
Ja,
da die
ja.
Sprittung nicht weggeht. Zum Beispiel.
I put those guys on a mission and I didn't really pay attention to what it needs to do. It was done by last week, Tuesday.
Yeah, last week, yeah.
Er sagt, er hat die Jungs ja an der Arbeit gekriegt und seitdem weiß er nicht mehr, wo die ist. Danke.
Thank you.
Ja. The UPS guy is here.
But I think that's where the big
So,
snakes are
wir
at.
sind zurück in der Werkstatt. Wir haben, ja. All right.
Well, we ready to move on?
All
That was
right.
cool.
Well, again,
Thank you.
for stopping out. Thank you very much. Anytime. Not doing anything in a couple weeks, swing back out. Not that you guys will be here.
Thank you so much, but may I thank you
Pleasure.
as well?
Thank you.
Have them send me the link to that.
May I
Yeah, when I'm back home and done.
I'm from the Dutch tractor organization. Tractor pulling organization. And I heard you're working on, so in general, it's for me a familiar machine as well. In the 30 years I'm involved in tractor pulling, this is a time to thank you for being here. Thank you.
One of the things about the general, that's, I had so much fun
Yeah,
being with Gardner.
yeah.
for a lot of
Gardner
years.
Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not talking just tractor pulling. I built a turbine engine boat for him. We had
Yeah.
that down in Daytona. We had a condo down there, and yeah, just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely a lot of fun. So
I sell, for the last 20 years, I sell t-shirts, tractor pulling t-shirts all over in Europe.
Yeah.
And in general, it's with the flames and
Was sagst du, war gut?
always been
Sehr interessant.
Schon wieder was gesehen, was man sonst nicht zu sehen bekommt, oder? Ja gut, so.
Yeah, no, I think a little later, maybe. I
maybe a
don't
little
know.
later.
Wir sind dann mal
Since
mit den
1991.
Gasturbinen durch und machen das auch zum nächsten Stopp im Stahlwerk. Da werden wir wahrscheinlich nicht filmen können, aber das ist wahrscheinlich auch nicht so interessant. Aber Hammer, was sagst du, war gut hier oder auch eine Klamotte, die man sonst nicht zu sehen bekommt, ne? Ja. Gut, dann war's. Bis zum nächsten Mal.